Dear chosen one, if you are watching this video right now, know that this is not a coincidence. You weren't led here by chance. It is God who has brought you to this very moment, to this message, because an urgent prophecy is about to unfold, and it is meant for you. Receive this energy and divine prophecy by liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to write your heartfelt prayers or wishes to God in the comments section below. Beloved, lean in closely. There is a reason your spirit was restless, a reason you felt a pull to stop everything else and give your attention here. Heaven is trying to remind you of something that no earthly circumstance can cancel. You have been divinely chosen, and the seal of God's blessing is upon your life. This blessing is not ordinary. It is not fragile, and it cannot be reversed. When God marks something, no hand can erase it. When God speaks, no power can silence it. When God establishes a covenant, no man, no devil, no circumstance can undo it. Think of Balaam in the book of Numbers. Balak, the king of Moab, summoned Balaam to curse Israel because he feared their strength. But every time Balaam opened his mouth, blessing came out instead of cursing. He declared, "Behold, I have received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot reverse it." Numbers 23:20. Beloved, this same truth is hovering over your life. The word God has spoken over you cannot be overturned. For some time, you may have felt as though your blessing was fragile, as though it could be stolen or delayed beyond recognition. But hear this. What God has ordained for you carries a divine signature that cannot be forged or stolen. His seal is stronger than opposition, stronger than envy, stronger than generational curses, stronger than setbacks, stronger than anything that has tried to rise up against you. Beloved, I know life has not always felt like blessing. You have walked through seasons that felt heavy, times where everything seemed to fall apart, moments where it appeared that favor had slipped from your grasp. Yet, in the unseen, God was guarding His word over you. Even when you felt surrounded by loss, the blessing was still intact. Even when you were overlooked by others, you were still marked by heaven. Even when you doubted yourself, God's choice did not waver. This is the paradox of the chosen. The external can look broken, but the internal promise is still alive. Joseph wore prison clothes, but in God's eyes, he still wore a royal robe. David tended sheep, but in heaven's records, he was already king. Esther lived as an orphan, but God's hand had already positioned her as queen. And you, beloved, though you have faced storms and struggles, have carried a blessing that nothing and no one could reverse. Let this sink deeply into your heart. You are not living under human approval, you are living under divine appointment. People may have rejected you, but God selected you. Circumstances may have bruised you, but they could not break the promise. Time may have tested you, but it could not cancel destiny. Beloved, hear this in the Spirit. The blessing on your life is not fragile, it is fortified. God Himself has surrounded it like a wall of fire. He has placed His name upon you, and what He has marked cannot be erased. Do you know why the enemy fights you so hard? It is not because of where you are now but because of what you carry. The enemy sees the mark. He knows the blessing is irrevocable, and so he tries to discourage you, distract you, and make you question whether God has truly chosen you. But the truth is this: the harder the battle, the greater the evidence that you are marked. Think of the children of Israel in Egypt. Pharaoh increased the weight of their oppression, yet the more they were afflicted, the more they multiplied. Why? Because they were a people under an unshakable covenant. Likewise, no matter the affliction you have faced, the blessing has not been diminished, it has only grown in strength, waiting for the right moment to break forth. Beloved, I want you to remember this: the blessing is not just about material provision, though that too will come. The blessing is about identity, protection, purpose, and inheritance. It is the hand of God resting on your life in such a way that nothing can strip it away. It is the assurance that you are covered, guided, and upheld by the one who never changes. And when God blesses, it is not temporary. His word endures. What He has marked for you cannot be auctioned off to another. Even if others try to take credit for your work, they cannot take ownership of your calling. Even if doors seem shut, they will open in their appointed time. Even if you are delayed, you will never be denied. So lift your head, chosen one. Stop carrying the weight of wondering if you are enough, if you are worthy, if you will make it. The answer is already written. God Himself has placed His mark upon you. And once the Creator of heaven and earth has declared His blessing, there is no court, no authority, no voice that can reverse it. Beloved, you are walking under the canopy of an eternal promise. Every step you take, every tear you've cried, every battle you've fought has been seen by the eyes of heaven. And through it all, one truth remains unshaken: you are marked for a blessing that no one and nothing can reverse. Take a moment now to let gratitude rise in you. Whisper thanks to the Lord who has kept you, even in times you did not realize you were being kept. His blessing is not only over your life but within your life, flowing through your bloodline, covering your children, and preparing a future far greater than what your eyes have yet seen. Beloved, the mark of God is upon you, and no reversal is possible. Beloved, now that you have received the truth that you are marked with a blessing that cannot be reversed, let us dive deeper into what that truly means for your journey. First, understand that the blessing of God is not a single event, it is a covering. It is not just about a moment of favor, but about a lifetime of divine orchestration. When the hand of God rests upon your life, everything connected to you begins to align with His will, whether it is obvious to you in the moment or not. Think about Abraham. God called him out of his homeland, away from everything familiar, and made him a promise: I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. I will make your name great, and through you, all nations of the earth will be blessed. This was not just a passing word, it was a generational decree. Abraham's descendants carried that mark, and even when they faltered, the covenant was never erased. Why? Because what God marks cannot be reversed. Beloved, the same truth applies to you. God's blessing upon your life is not fragile. It is not hanging by a thread. It is not waiting for human approval. It is not dependent on whether people recognize your worth. The blessing on your life is rooted in God's eternal word, and His word does not return void. Let's address something important. The blessing is not always visible at first. Sometimes it hides beneath the soil like a seed, waiting for the right season to break forth. And when you are in the waiting, it can feel like the blessing has disappeared, or worse, been taken away. But beloved, delay does not mean denial, and silence does not mean absence. Even when the seed is buried, it is alive. Even when you cannot see growth, God is at work beneath the surface. Consider David once more. He was anointed king while still a shepherd boy, yet he went back to tending sheep. Years passed before the crown touched his head. In that waiting, enemies arose, betrayals came, battles tested him, yet none of those things reversed what God had spoken over his life. The oil that flowed from Samuel's horn was proof: God had already marked him. And no matter how long it took, the throne was his destiny. Beloved, you may be in your waiting season right now. You may be looking at your life and wondering, if I'm truly blessed, why does it look like this? Hear me, the blessing is not determined by what you see but by what God has decreed. Heaven's verdict over you has already been sealed, and nothing on earth can overturn it. Another thing you must know is this: when God marks you, opposition will come. Do not mistake resistance as a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. The enemy does not waste energy fighting what is empty. He only fights what carries weight. And because you are carrying a blessing that cannot be reversed, the enemy has tried to discourage you, distract you, and make you feel unworthy. But beloved, if the devil could have stopped you, you wouldn't still be here. The very fact that you are listening to this message is proof that God's hand has been sustaining you all along. Do not let fear or doubt convince you that your blessing is in jeopardy. The enemy cannot erase what God has written. He cannot undo what God has finished. He cannot cancel what God has ordained. The mark of heaven is stronger than every curse, stronger than every lie, stronger than every attempt to derail your purpose. Beloved, let us also speak about identity. When God marks you, He does so not just for what you will have but for who you are. You are not just blessed to receive, you are blessed to become. You are blessed to reflect the goodness of God to the world around you. You are blessed to shine as a testimony that God's promises are real. You are blessed to be a light in the darkness, a voice of hope, a vessel of grace, and when you walk in that identity, you begin to realize something powerful. The blessing is not only for you. Yes, you are the one marked, but the blessing will overflow from your life into others. Just as Abraham's blessing extended to nations, your blessing will touch family, friends, communities, and even people you have not yet met. The mark of God is contagious, it spreads beyond you. Beloved, sometimes this truth will feel heavy, because being chosen carries responsibility. It means you cannot live like everyone else. It means you cannot take shortcuts that others take. It means you must walk in obedience even when it costs you. But know this, the cost of obedience is nothing compared to the reward of God's blessing. You are not ordinary, and that is why your life has never been ordinary. That is why the path has often felt harder, why the trials have been more intense, why the journey has been longer. But it is also why the testimony will be greater, why the breakthrough will be undeniable, and why the blessing will be irreversible. Beloved, let this settle in your spirit. You are not defined by what people say, by what you've lost, or by what you've endured. You are defined by the mark of God upon your life. And because He has marked you, you cannot be erased. Because He has blessed you, you cannot be cursed. Because He has chosen you, you cannot be rejected. Lift your hands, wherever you are, and declare this aloud. I am marked by God. I am blessed beyond reversal. No curse, no enemy, no circumstance can undo what God has decreed over my life. Let those words soak into your soul, for they are not mere affirmations, they are truth. They are the echo of heaven's decree over you. Beloved, walk boldly in this assurance. Walk confidently, not because of who you are in your own strength, but because of who God is in His faithfulness. The mark upon you is eternal, unshakable, and unchangeable. You are blessed, and it cannot be reversed. Beloved, now that your spirit has grasped the truth of being marked with a blessing that cannot be reversed, let us step further into understanding the dimensions of this blessing. Because what God has placed upon you is not one-dimensional, it touches every area of your life: spiritual, emotional, relational, financial, generational, and eternal. The first dimension is spiritual covering. When you are marked by God, you walk under His shield. It does not mean that storms won't come, but it does mean the storm will never destroy you. It does not mean the enemy will not attack, but it does mean the enemy cannot prevail. Psalm 91 says, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Beloved, this is your inheritance. Even when arrows fly by day and terror lurks at night, the mark of God is your shield. Some of you can testify, there were moments you should not have survived, yet here you are. Accidents that should have claimed your life. Illnesses that should have broken your body. Betrayals that should have crushed your spirit. Yet through it all, you were preserved. Why? Because God has marked you, and His hand will not let you go. The second dimension is identity restoration. Many times, the enemy tries to attack your sense of who you are. He whispers lies: you're not good enough. You're forgotten. You're unworthy. You've made too many mistakes. But the blessing of God silences those lies. The mark on your life is not based on your performance but on His promise. It's not anchored in your perfection but in His purpose. Think about the prodigal son. He wasted his inheritance, disgraced his family, and returned home expecting rejection. Yet what did the father do? He placed a robe on his shoulders, a ring on his finger, and sandals on his feet. That ring was a mark of identity restored. Beloved, the blessing on your life is God's way of saying, you are still mine. No mistake can unmark you. No failure can cancel my claim on you. The third dimension is provision and increase. The mark of God carries with it the guarantee of provision. Jesus said in Matthew 6:26, "Look at the birds of the air, they do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Beloved, the mark upon you ensures that you will not be forsaken. Even in famine, God will provide. Even in drought, He will bring rain. Even in lack, He will multiply." Do not measure your future by the limits of your current resources. The God who multiplied the widow's oil and fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish is the same God who has marked you. What He provides for you will not be ordinary, it will carry the signature of supernatural increase. The fourth dimension is generational blessing. The mark upon your life does not end with you, it extends beyond you. Just as Abraham's blessing stretched to Isaac, Jacob, and countless descendants, so too does God's mark on you ripple through your bloodline. Your obedience, your prayers, your sacrifices, they are building altars for your children and your children's children. You may have come from a family marked by struggle, but because of the blessing on your life, that cycle is being broken. Generational curses are being overturned into generational blessings. Poverty is being overturned into abundance. Dysfunction is being overturned into healing. The blessing you carry will leave an inheritance of favor for those who come after you. The fifth dimension is divine favor. Favor is when doors open for you that should not have opened. Favor is when people are moved to bless you without knowing why. Favor is when opportunities find you, even when you did not seek them out. Beloved, when God marks you, favor becomes your companion. It surrounds you like a fragrance. People sense something different about you, though they cannot explain it. They are drawn not to you but to the mark of God upon you. This is why Joseph could find favor even as a slave in Potiphar's house, even as a prisoner behind bars. The mark of God was on him, and so wherever he went, favor followed. Beloved, this is your reality too. The mark on your life means that even in unlikely places, you will be noticed, elevated, and blessed. The sixth and most profound dimension is eternal inheritance. The blessing on your life is not confined to this world. It is a seal of your place in eternity. Ephesians 1:13 says, "When you believed, you were marked in Him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit, who is a deposit guaranteeing our inheritance." Beloved, this means you are not only blessed for this lifetime but for the life to come. You have an eternal home, a crown that does not fade, and a reward that cannot be stolen. Pause and reflect on this. Your life is bigger than your struggles, bigger than your current situation, bigger than this moment in time. You are living under a blessing that stretches into forever. Beloved, when you embrace these dimensions, you begin to see why the blessing cannot be reversed. It is too deeply rooted, too widely spread, too divinely sealed. It touches everything: your spirit, your identity, your provision, your family, your favor, and your eternity. To undo it would mean undoing the very nature of God Himself, and that is impossible. So take courage. Do not look at your life through the lens of fear or lack. Look at your life through the lens of blessing. You are walking with a mark that cannot fade, cannot be erased, cannot be reversed. Beloved, stand firm in this truth. When the world tries to tell you otherwise, remind yourself, I am chosen. I am blessed. I am sealed. And nothing can change that. Beloved, we have spoken about the dimensions of the blessing, but now we must talk about what happens when you begin to walk in that blessing. Because it is one thing to be marked, and another thing to embrace and embody what you carry. When God places His mark upon you, life begins to shift in ways that sometimes feel uncomfortable. Why? Because the mark makes you different. The mark sets you apart. The mark causes you to stand out even when you would rather blend in. Think about Joseph once more. His brothers hated him not because of what he did wrong, but because of the mark of favor upon his life. The dreams he carried made him distinct, and that distinction made him a target. Beloved, the blessing you carry will sometimes invite opposition. Do not be surprised when others envy you, misunderstand you, or even try to push you aside. It is not you they are resisting, it is the mark. But here is the good news: no matter how others respond, they cannot erase what God has established. Joseph's brothers stripped him of his robe, but they could not strip him of his destiny. People may take things from you, they may betray you, they may lie about you, but the mark remains untouched. The robe can be torn, but the anointing cannot be stolen. Beloved, this means you must learn to see opposition differently. Stop asking, "Why do people come against me?" and start realizing, they see something in me that even I sometimes forget. Your mark is visible in the spiritual realm, and that is why the battles have been so intense. But remember this: every attempt to push you down is only preparing to launch you higher. Let's go deeper. Walking in the blessing also requires a shift in your mindset. Many of God's chosen ones live beneath their inheritance because they allow fear, doubt, and insecurity to dominate their thinking. But beloved, if God has marked you, you must begin to think, speak, and act like someone who is blessed beyond reversal. This means you stop speaking defeat over your life and start declaring victory. You stop seeing yourself as inadequate and start recognizing the grace within you. You stop shrinking back to make others comfortable and start walking boldly in the authority God has given you. Beloved, this is not arrogance, this is alignment. You are not boasting in yourself, you are boasting in the faithfulness of God who has marked you. Another truth you must embrace is this: the blessing attracts responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. The mark is not just a badge of honor, it is a call to service. God blesses you so that you may bless others. He pours into you so that you may pour into those around you. Look at Abraham again. God told him, "I will bless you, and you will be a blessing." That is the pattern. The mark is not selfish, it is generous. The blessing is not hoarded, it is shared. Beloved, part of walking in your blessing is asking yourself, how can I use what God has given me to uplift others? Sometimes the blessing will flow through material provision. You will have enough to give, to support, to help those in need. Other times it will flow through wisdom, through prayer, through encouragement, through leadership. Whatever form it takes, never forget, the blessing is bigger than you. You are a vessel, and as you pour out, God continues to fill you again and again. Beloved, let us also speak about timing. Many times, chosen ones feel discouraged because they cannot yet see the full expression of the blessing. They think, if I am marked, why haven't I received it all yet? But hear this: God's blessing unfolds in seasons. He does not give you everything at once because He is shaping you to carry it. David was marked as king long before he sat on the throne. The waiting did not mean the blessing was absent, it meant the blessing was maturing. Beloved, do not despise the process. The mark guarantees the outcome, but the process prepares you for it. The blessing is irreversible, but your readiness must align with God's timing. This is why you must trust Him even in seasons of silence. Even when it looks like nothing is happening, something is happening. Even when it feels like you are forgotten, you are being remembered in the courts of heaven. Even when you feel delayed, you are still right on schedule. Because when the appointed time comes, nothing will stop the manifestation of what God has already declared over you. Beloved, I want to remind you of this: the blessing is not fragile, but your faith must be nurtured. Guard your heart against negativity. Protect your spirit from despair. Refuse to let the enemy's lies take root. Instead, feed yourself with truth, the truth that you are chosen, that you are blessed, that you are sealed, and as you live in this truth, you will begin to see evidence. Small signs will appear: doors opening, prayers answered, strength renewed, unexpected favor. Pay attention to these signs, because they are glimpses of the greater blessing being unveiled. Beloved, lift your spirit now. Let hope rise again. Let faith be stirred. You have not missed your moment. You have not been overlooked by heaven. You are walking with a mark that cannot be erased. You are carrying a blessing that cannot be reversed. Walk boldly into the days ahead. Expect favor. Expect increase. Expect miracles. Not because life is always easy, but because God is always faithful. And when He marks someone, He does not change His mind. Beloved, as we move deeper, it is time to talk about the unshakable covenant that stands behind your blessing. Because you are not just walking with a blessing that feels uncertain or unstable. No, your blessing is anchored in the eternal Word of God, and His Word cannot return void. When God marks you, He does so with covenant intent. His mark is not temporary. His promises are not flimsy. They are not like the words of men that change with emotions, seasons, or circumstances. His promises are eternal. The very heavens and the earth may pass away, but the word of God will remain forever. This means that no matter how much the enemy tries to convince you otherwise, no matter how much your situation appears contrary, the truth remains. You are blessed, and nothing can reverse it. Let us look again at the story of Balaam. King Balak hired Balaam to curse Israel, but each time Balaam opened his mouth, only blessings flowed. Why? Because Israel was marked. They were in covenant with God. And Balaam declared in Numbers 23:20, Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. Beloved, this is the foundation of your hope. The world may speak against you, critics may rise against you, enemies may plot against you, but no curse can override God's covenant. No words of man can undo what the Creator has decreed. Think of it like this: when you receive a royal seal, that seal cannot be tampered with by ordinary hands. When God places His seal upon you, it is guarded by His authority. Every attempt to tamper with it is futile. Every scheme to cancel it is void. This is why you must walk in peace, not fear. You are not fragile, you are fortified. But beloved, we must also talk about the importance of alignment. Because though the blessing is irreversible, your ability to fully experience it depends on your obedience and surrender. Think of Israel in the wilderness. They were blessed, marked, and chosen, but disobedience delayed their entry into the promised land. They could not be unmarked, but they could miss out on fullness. So ask yourself, am I aligned with the God who has blessed me? Am I walking in His ways, trusting in His timing, and obeying His instructions? Because alignment is the key that unlocks the manifestation of what is already yours. Sometimes, beloved, alignment requires letting go of certain things. There are relationships, habits, and mindsets that cannot go where God is taking you. The mark sets you apart, which means you cannot always do what everyone else does. You cannot move like those who are unmarked, because the mark makes you accountable to a higher calling. Do not see this as a burden, but as a privilege. To be chosen, to be set apart, to be marked, it means you are trusted with heaven's treasures. God would not place His mark upon you if He did not intend to reveal His glory through you. Beloved, let us also remember this truth: the blessing is generational. When God blesses you, He is not just thinking of you, He is thinking of your children, and your children's children. The mark upon your life creates a ripple effect that cannot be stopped. Look at Abraham again. God's blessing upon him flowed down to Isaac, then to Jacob, then to the 12 tribes, and ultimately to all of us who are heirs through faith. The mark upon Abraham's life was not just about him, it was about nations. Beloved, the blessing upon you is also bigger than you. It will touch your family, your community, your lineage. Some of the prayers you are praying right now are setting up blessings for generations you may never meet. This is why the enemy fights you so hard, because he knows your obedience today is securing victory for those who come after you. So lift your eyes higher. Stop thinking of your blessing as something small or limited. Begin to see it in the light of eternity. Your mark is part of God's grand design to redeem, to restore, to uplift. And do not forget, this blessing carries a supernatural protection. When you are marked, God Himself defends you. Just as He placed a hedge around Job, just as He rebuked kings on behalf of Abraham, He will guard what belongs to him. This does not mean you will never face trials, but it means your trials cannot consume you. The fire may burn around you, but you will come out without even the smell of smoke. Beloved, this is why you must live with confidence. Too many of God's chosen ones live timidly, afraid of curses, afraid of opposition, afraid of the unknown. But hear this, you cannot be cursed because you are already blessed. You cannot be reversed because you are already marked. This is the hour to step into bold faith, to walk into rooms with assurance, to make decisions with trust, to pray with authority, to dream with courage, because you know that heaven has already sealed your destiny. Beloved, I sense this in my spirit. Some of you listening have been doubting whether you truly carry this blessing. You look at your life and see struggle, delay, rejection, and you wonder, am I really marked? Let me assure you, the evidence of the struggle is proof of the mark. The resistance you have faced is not because you are empty, but because you are full. The enemy does not fight what is empty, he fights what carries weight. You are marked, beloved, and the opposition you've endured is confirmation, so do not despise your journey. Even the battles have been part of your blessing. Even the delays have been part of your preparation. Even the pain has been shaping your promise. Everything is working together for good because you belong to the one who never fails. Beloved, take a deep breath right now and let peace wash over you. Release the anxiety, release the doubt, release the fear. Rest in the truth that you are blessed beyond reversal. You are marked beyond dispute. You are chosen beyond question, and as you walk in this truth, expect doors to open. Expect healing to manifest. Expect breakthroughs to appear. Because when God marks you, favor becomes your portion. Miracles become your inheritance. And joy becomes your song. Beloved, as we arrive at the final part of this message, it is time to seal everything you've received with faith and understanding. You have heard that you are marked, that your blessing cannot be reversed, and that your journey is divinely orchestrated. Now, I want to guide you into the posture you must carry as you step into the fullness of what God has ordained for your life. The first posture is gratitude. Gratitude unlocks doors that prayer alone cannot open. When you live with a grateful heart, you affirm your trust in God even before the manifestation of His promises. Gratitude is the sound of faith. It tells heaven, I believe you even now. I thank you even here. I trust you even before I see the evidence. Beloved, begin to wake up each morning and thank God not just for what He has done, but for what He has promised. Thank Him for the blessing you cannot yet see. Thank Him for the breakthroughs that are already set in motion. Thank Him for marking you with favor, even when life feels uncertain. This rhythm of gratitude will shift your atmosphere and align you with heaven's flow. The second posture is expectation. Gratitude says, God, I believe you. Expectation says, God, I am ready to receive. Too often, chosen ones live with muted faith. They believe God can bless them, but they don't live as though they are about to walk into it. But beloved, your blessing is not far off, it is near. Your miracle is not reserved for the distant future, it is unfolding now. Live with holy expectation. Approach each day as though favor might surprise you at any moment. Expect that God will orchestrate divine connections, unexpected provision, supernatural healing. Expect that doors you thought were locked forever will suddenly open with ease. When you expect, you prepare your spirit to catch the blessing when it arrives. The third posture is obedience. Gratitude positions your heart. Expectation prepares your spirit. But obedience activates your blessing. There are instructions tied to your inheritance. There are whispers of God guiding your steps. Beloved, do not delay your obedience. Move when He says move. Sow when He says sow. Speak when He says speak. Let your yes be immediate, because delayed obedience can sometimes mean delayed manifestation. Think of the widow at Zarephath. Her obedience to feed Elijah with her last portion of flour and oil unlocked supernatural provision for her household. Think of Peter casting his net at Jesus' word. Even after a night of fruitless labor, his obedience brought an overflow he could not contain. The mark guarantees your blessing, but obedience determines how quickly you walk into it. The fourth posture is courage. Courage does not mean you feel no fear, it means you choose to move forward in spite of it. Beloved, there are places God is about to take you that will require boldness. You cannot walk timidly into the doors He is opening. You must enter with confidence, knowing that you are not alone. Heaven is backing you. The mark is upon you. The blessing is working for you. This courage will be tested. You will face moments where you are tempted to shrink back, to doubt, to disqualify yourself. But remember, you are not stepping into these places because of your own ability, but because of God's faithfulness. He who called you is faithful, and He will not leave you. Finally, beloved, the posture of intercession. As one who is marked, you are not just a receiver of blessing, you are a carrier of blessing. Your prayers carry weight. Your words shift atmospheres. When you pray for your family, heaven moves. When you declare healing, healing flows. When you intercede for nations, angels are dispatched. The mark makes you a vessel of divine influence, so do not limit your prayers to yourself alone. Begin to pray with authority for those around you. Stand in the gap for those who are weary, broken, and searching. Release blessing into your home, your workplace, your community. As you do, the blessing multiplies in your own life, for the measure you pour out is the measure God returns to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Beloved, as I close, I want to remind you once more, you are not ordinary. You are chosen, sealed, marked, and blessed. Your blessing cannot be revoked. Your destiny cannot be reversed. What God has spoken over your life is final, and His word will come to pass. So rise with joy. Walk with boldness. Live with gratitude, expectation, obedience, courage, and intercession. Because the days ahead are pregnant with miracles, and the blessing upon you is unstoppable. You may have endured battles, but they were shaping you. You may have faced delays, but they were positioning you. You may have carried hidden pain, but it is now being exchanged for visible glory. Beloved, rejoice, for your story is shifting. The mark of God is upon you. And no power in hell, no scheme of man, no weapon formed against you can undo it. Step into your inheritance. Receive the fullness of your blessing. Walk as one who carries heaven's seal. And as you do, may your life become a living testimony that when God marks someone, the blessing cannot be reversed.